All right, so Pavy Daily Takes. We're here. We're back. Uh, Sorry about the beginning. I'm still trying to figure out the streaming software, but we're back. We're here. Pavy Daily Takes. Yeah. So today, as you see, I got the fever thing down. Sorry, I'm still a little bit under the weather, but I got the fever thing down. I used to think everybody is. I see everybody been freaking out about FIBA and the FIBA team, and pretty much since the roster was constructed, and we knew at least who was supposed to be on the team, and saw everybody pretty much drop out. Everybody's been freaking out about the team, even about like the victories, the close victories. Last night, well, like not last night, last yesterday, early morning, the Turkey game, which they won, but it took 4 missed free throws down the stretch by Turkey for them to be able to, get the win. And I'm just gonna tell everybody like calm down. And I think that people need to have a higher respect for the basketball that's being played around the world now. I think a lot of what the issue is that people look at some of these names in the NBA, like they'll look at Ersan Ilyasova, they'll look at Seti Osman or Jetty Osman, they'll look at Kuzma, who was on Turkey, they'll look at Anderson Varejao, Leandro Barbosa, they'll look at some of these names of these guys who may be lesser names, in the NBA, maybe like role players, in the NBA, and think that these guys can't play basketball. What you got to realize is, man, like all these guys are supremely skilled athletes, and it's not, 20 years ago, 26 years ago, 30 years ago, where the NBA is pretty much the only country that's putting forth NBA athletes, and you maybe have 10 from the rest of the world. Like there's a lot of foreign guys in the league now, and even there's more foreign guys who've been drafted into the NBA but just haven't come over yet. So these international teams are very talented. Like most of these teams have 2 to 3 NBA players on them. Like Australia, right? They had Joe Ingles, Patty Mills, and Bogut. And I think Baines was starting as well. Starting. That's 4 NBA players starting for Australia. Australia has a very good basketball team. Even look at Turkey, right? They had Jetty Osman. Jetty Osman is a starter in the NBA, a starter. Serbia, they have Boban. They have Bogdan. They have Jokic, a top 10 player in the NBA. And I think they have another guy whose name I forget as well. Like these teams have very, very quality players. So it's not like, they just out there throwing up some trash and running them on the court and like getting us out of here. Also, all the Greece. Like Greece has Giannis, who's the MVP, and he has Giannis and his brothers on Greece. And they lost yesterday to Bruno Caboclo. Some of y'all don't even know who Bruno Caboclo is. Bruno Caboclo was a guy, if you remember, that was a Lakers-Memphis game earlier. And everybody killed LeBron for like not getting out on that three-pointer to kind of ice the game. That was Bruno Caboclo. NBA player, he was a guy who tapped the ball off the rim. Most people don't even know who Bruno Caboclo is. Saying all this to say, all these teams are deep, all these teams are talented, all these teams can play basketball. And as if Varejao gave you 22 and 10 on Giannis the other day. Well, not on Giannis, but on Greece the other day. I didn't even know Anderson Varejao was still playing competitive basketball, and he still gave you 22 and 10. So again, like these teams have talent, man. And most of these teams have been playing together since like for years, for like a decade now, as opposed to these NBA teams who pretty much been thrown together this summer, with like Team USA who's pretty much been thrown together this summer and is asked to go win and go compete at a high level. I mean, I think that they're doing the best that they can. Like I think that they're doing a good job, especially considering that I know this because I covered the WNBA, and even I was shocked. Like even I had to relearn kind of like basketball and like what I knew about the game. Like really, the NBA is the only place that plays basketball like the NBA. Everybody else plays basketball completely different. You know, for the most part, for one, the court is smaller. Number one, um, which makes a difference. The 3-point line is smaller. The rules are different. You can tap the ball off the rim. Certain things you can't do. Also, there's no gather step. Like you can't take 3 steps and dunk or take 3 steps and do that. You have to be 1-2. I remember 2008 when LeBron and all them came over. That was one of the things that they kept getting called on was traveling, because in the NBA you can take those 3 steps. They'll like allow you to do that. Overseas you can't do that. It's just a much different game overseas. Nobody plays basketball the same way that we play basketball. They just don't. and you can say that we play the best possible version of basketball if you want to. That's fair. But again, nobody plays basketball the way we play basketball in the rest of the world. So the same way that Europeans kind of have to get used to the NBA game, in turn, when we play FIBA, we have to get used to the international game. And I know I got into an argument on Twitter with somebody that said, "Oh well, they play in the FIBA 18 and under competition." Like, bro, first of all, that's maybe 10 games out of thousands upon thousands of games that they played in their career in that fashion. So they still don't really have experience with the FIBA rules. They still don't really have experience playing the FIBA way of playing basketball. For one, I think isolation is not as much a part of the game in FIBA. Like when you watch it, everybody's pretty much running sets, it's constant movement, it's back cutting all the time. I don't even think there's really enough space on the court to be able to isolate. I think that in the NBA, that's one thing why some people who can be just decent players in college, they get to like a Russell Westbrook. You didn't know Russell Westbrook was this talented when he got like you knew he was very, very athletic, but he's a much better NBA player than he was a college player. Same way like a Zach LaVine. Some of these guys, because the court just opens up for you. When the court opens up, you have more space to do your thing, as opposed to in international play. I'm not 100% sure, but I think the court is a little bit smaller than what it is in NBA play. And also, when I look at the team and I look at, you know, um, what's going on in some of the players on there, I think it's going to springboard a lot of them for this season. For one, I think Kemba Walker, called me crazy. Now, granted, he's not going to win MVP. I don't think he's going to win MVP, but I do think this is the start of his NBA campaign, his MVP campaign. I mean, when you look at it, outside of Giannis and Jokic, Kemba Walker is the best player in the world. That's in this FIBA tournament. Not saying a lot, and I feel like Kemba Walker has never really been showcased on the stage that he's being showcased on now. Reason being is just that you were playing in Charlotte, and like who was watching you in Charlotte? Like I think he made the playoffs once in Charlotte, so you were really never on a stage like that, for you to really be seen. And this is for one of the biggest stages that he's been on. Also, he's in Boston, which is a much bigger market. And I think also that it's a good thing for Tatum. I think Tatum can use experience. I also think that um, what's the coaches? Brad Stevens should look at the way that they're using Tatum in FIBA. And even though he isn't knocking down the most shots, like that's not what I'm impressed by. I'm just impressed by how he looks at the four position. I think he should look at the way that he's being used in FIBA and try to utilize him kind of like that during the season. I think that Jason Tatum should play some four. I think that maybe the four spot would maybe be a better position for Jason Tatum in the NBA than the three. I think maybe next year the lineup that I would like to see for Boston would be, Kemba Walker, Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown at the three, Tatum at the four, Kenner at the five. Um, Also, I think Middleton even stepping up, knocking down those big shots. I think that was huge. I just think this team as a whole, I think we'll be fine. I still think we have probably the best team in the world. I think maybe the only team that could realistically beat us is Serbia. Now, anybody could maybe catch us on the night. We don't play our best and can catch us. Like, again, Australia caught us. There's other teams that have very deep team, good teams that can catch us. But I think the only team that I would maybe say is quote unquote better than us is maybe Serbia. And I don't even know if they're better than us. I think they may have the best player in the game per se, which would be Jokic, but I don't necessarily think that they're just that top to bottom they're better than us. Now I will say again, they've probably been together longer than the FIBA team has, so they have a little bit more camaraderie and are a little bit more familiar with each other. But still, talent wise, I still think we still have the most talented team in the world. Like hands down, we still have the most talented team in the world. It's just that it's not the dream team anymore. It's not 1996 anymore. It's not 2000 anymore. The rest of the world is really good at basketball these days. Really, really good. Like for instance, the Nigerian team had Josh, uh, Okuji, and Alfred Aminu, two NBA players, and that's in Nigeria. That's the Nigerian basketball team. Japan has a top 8 pick, a lottery pick on their team. The rest of the world is really, really good at basketball these days. So I don't think it's so much of just Team USA being bad, and and as it is the rest of the world is just really good at basketball now. Like basketball is a global game. It's not just America playing it. It's a global game. Everybody plays it. We can send the best athletes over there. We can send our top squad over there, and they will struggle. Now, granted, I mean even when I think it was when I think it was the trying to think which game was that. I think it was either the '08 or the 2012 Olympics in which we played. I think it was Spain. They had Kobe, Braun, Dwight was on the team, D Wade was on the team. They struggled. It wasn't like they ran away from them in the gold medal game. I think they won by like 10 points. There was a time in the game in which it was damn near tied. That 4-point play Kobe had was a huge moment in the game. And that's against Kobe, Braun, all those guys. But that Spain team had, I think, Pal, Mark. I think Ricky Rubio was on that team. Rudy Fernandez. If you don't know who Rudy Fernandez is, cut this off. Go home and do your research on Rudy Fernandez. Used to play for the Portland Trail Blazers. Rudy Fernandez was hard. But again, they had a team full of NBA guys. And you would think that the Redeem team or the people that we had would just run through them. And that's not the case. The rest of the world is just really, really good at basketball. The days of us, just packing up, going overseas and beating everybody by 30 are long gone. Like long, 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 long gone. Been gone for a minute. The rest of the world is really good at basketball. And I think that that's just something that us in America and everybody who watches FIBA basketball needs to realize. And stop criticizing Team USA so much and just put some respect on the rest of the world. So, Pavy Daily Takes. We're doing a happy hour coming up. So if you catch this before the happy hour, if you catch this after the happy hour, again, appreciate all you guys for watching. And yeah, I'll be back tomorrow with something different. So, Pavy Daily Takes.